the Phillies give me such great anxiety when it comes to the playoffs. It's just playoff baseball. And just even thinking about the series starting on Saturday, it totally gets the back of my throat's like watering, like, oh man. It's not because of the Mets. We need to end this nonsense with being scared of the New York Mets. First of all, they might not even play the Mets. The Brewers are favored to win today. So they may not even play the Mets. But you know what? I get it. 2022 was the Phillies. They got hot late. 2023 was the Diamondbacks. They got hot late. They do have that look. The Mets are a formidable team. It's going to be a tough series if they beat the Brewers tonight. But I'm sorry, the Phillies have Zach Wheeler and Chris Sanchez and Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and Alec Boehm and Trey Turner. And a bullpen that's been better than any bullpen they've had in recent memory.
Absolutely.
So this whole idea that, like, oh my God, the Mets, I'm scared of the Mets. No, F that. Enough of that. That stops right now. No more. I am not going to turn this BS into reality. I'm not talking the Phillies into losing the Mets. Bill Mets.
The Mets. Like, they look like the 2022 Phillies. No, they don't, because they're wearing orange and blue hats that say NY on them. They are the perennial they're the perennial losers. They're a joke. They're the freaking Mets. Two, how are we going to be afraid of our rival? Now, I want the Mets so we can beat them into submission, like in 2007 when we went head-to-head with them and beat them and embarrassed them. That's what I want to do once again. I was not alive in 1980, John, but I go back to all those clips that I see, like, from the Eagles playoffs. Like, we want the Cowboys. We want Dallas. And we got Dallas. And we beat them into submission to win the NFC Championship game. And it is one of the most talked about games in the history of this city. I want that. I want to beat our rivals. Yeah, it's funny when the Braves get eliminated, but I wanted them again. Let's go ahead and embarrass them again. The idea of fearing the Mets is ludicrous to me.
Yeah,
they're the Mets.
Loser mentality. Loser mentality. Tyler Zuli said this to us before the show. It's like, you're going to win a World Series, you're going to have to beat good teams.
Yeah.
Let's not act like that you're dealing with the 27 Yankees with the Mets. All right, I'll take the Phillies starting pitching over the Mets. I'll take the Phillies bullpen over the Mets. I'll take the Phillies starting lineup over the Mets. And they're good. And it doesn't matter. What we learned with baseball is it doesn't matter on paper if you have the better team or you don't. And that's where the fear comes from, is we're better than the Mets, or we've been better than the Mets, but that short series, oh man, and they're hot. We've seen it the last 2 years how that team gets hot. Screw that. That doesn't have to happen every year. The Phillies are rested. And again, the Mets might lose tonight. They're underdogs in the game. So I'm not putting the Mets in this series just yet. All right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Screw them. Bring them on. But I'm not doing it just yet.
In terms of, like, fear, you can't be afraid. When you have this many $20 million players, you can't be afraid of anyone. Like, we have a roster of all-stars. We all watched the all-star game.
That's right.
Like, our players were out there. It was the whole infield. Like, but in terms of just things I'm worried about, Rhys Hoskins coming in here with something to prove makes me more nervous than the freaking Mets.
Yeah,
the Mets.
Watching the Brewers, I heard Rhys Hoskins was on with Chris Rose too. Somewhere with Chris Rose. I don't know if it was a podcast. And immediately you miss him because Rhys was a great Philly. You're moving on from him because Bryce Harper's going to be the first baseman. And I understand
you
that.
have a first baseman, you have a DH. We tried him in left field. It sucked.
Can't argue with Schwarber playing DH. So there really wasn't a spot for him. Rhys Hoskins is really good, and he's shown to be clutch in the playoffs. So you're right. I mean, you bring in Alvarado. Alvarado comes in, and Rhys Hoskins is coming into the plate. I want to, like, where's the puke bucket?
Yeah, like,
that's where I'm going to be.
That scenario makes me far more nervous than anything the Mets are good. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I think the Phils are better. Why would I be worried about them?
Why would we think differently? Why are we cowering to the Mets? Stop it. Phillies fans, stop it. Enough already. Like I said, I've been just as guilty as anybody else I just needed to get through the end of the regular season. This drives me nuts. And now I need games. I need actual games. I'm trying to get to the games. I think I finally made it to where I'm all right. I'm all right with facing the Mets. I'm all right with facing the Brewers. Like, let's go. This is a good team. I can't come out here. Bill, I can't be a leader of this community if I'm going to come out and cower to the New York Mets. Ain't having it. Now, once the game starts, no matter who they play, I'm telling you, I'm going to be sick as a dog trying to do it.
Playoff baseball leads to anxiety.
Holy crap.
After a season of 162 games where it's every single pitch is like, all right, and now the next one. It's like, now What do you mean that was a
lot.
ball? Like
You
for
forget
3
it.
hours.
You forget what playoff baseball was like
Yes.
until they got back in, and it's like, holy, like I forgot what playoff baseball was like. Every pitch is a. I famously tell this story all the time. I had to drive around during that Dodgers series in 2008. I was driving around in my car. I didn't see the Matt Stairs home run because I couldn't take it. I heard it on WPHT. I was listening on the radio. It's like literally, I physically wasn't able. I put my dog Lexi, my late dog Lexi, in the car with me. Yes, and our intern Lexi's here today as well. But yes, in my car with me. We were driving around my neighborhood because I couldn't take it. So yeah, playoff baseball starts Saturday, man.
It's really. I can't wait for this. I don't care who they play at this point. Honestly, give me the Mets, please.
But you had said it with Rhys Hoskins. Alvarado has 2 guys on, and you're up by a run in the 7th, and Rhys Hoskins comes up to bat. Like, let me puke in the bucket right now. It's awesome, but the Brewers are a good team too.
Yeah, I will never fear our rivals. I want to take them head to head and beat them. That's just what it comes down to. That's the fun of rivalries. Yeah, the Brewers are a good team, but what history do we have with the Brewers? 2008. That's it. This is the Mets. They come here, we go there. It's a constant thing.
It will be awesome.
It's Philly, New York.
It would be awesome.